Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 722. Good Monday morning. That's the first sip of the day. Trader Joe's coffee. Now, anybody else confused by the time change? I was up way early yesterday. The whole day. I was an hour off. I guess that's what happens. Daylight savings ends. Time change when it begins again next spring. I was an hour off. It was I met with the buyer of my bulk, and it was like we were planning to meet at 2 yesterday afternoon, and it was like 1 o'clock, and it's like, oh man, it feels like 2. Well, yesterday at this time it was 2 o'clock, and I fell asleep on the couch at 8:20 last night. My wife's like, "Are you sleeping?" And of course you lie. You're like, "No, I'm not sleeping. No, I'm not sleeping." Why do we do that? Fall asleep on the couch. Wife says, "Are you sleeping?" And you pretend that you're not. Like, it's not like I'm breaking the law, doing anything bad. I'm just snoozing, just taking a little nap. No, I'm not sleeping. You were snoring. Oh. Yeah, I must have fell asleep for a second. So I got up, went about the rest of my night, and here we are. I've actually, for a Monday, I have quite a bit to talk about because I want to talk about the Bears. They lost yesterday, but it was a good loss. So I want to talk about why it was a good loss. And I didn't even really watch much of the game. Let's see what else. College basketball starts today. There's games on starting at tipping off at 11. And I think like every college basketball team in the country plays. I was looking at the schedule yesterday, and I'm like, oh, there's this game. So it's like there's 2 games at 11, 2 games at 1, 2 games at 3. So I'm looking at the games, and it's like, okay, I'll have this game on in the background, and then at this time, and then at 6 o'clock, I'm like, okay, what am I going to watch at 6? And I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There's like 100 games tipping off at 6 p.m. tonight. So it's like, okay, now there's so many games that I couldn't even find Wisconsin, the Badgers. So I had to click on Big Ten because I just had it set to all Division I. So click to Big Ten. Badgers play tonight, 7:30, I believe, is the tip against the Coyotes of South Dakota. Now, it is Coyotes, University of South Dakota, in lovely Vermilion, South Dakota. I've been there a few times. It's really small town. There's not much to see there. They did have a nice craft beer bar that I walked to. Usually we were in Vermilion, South Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota in like the depth of winter because it was for basketball. And we did go there for football, but I don't remember the football trips. And actually, Vermilion didn't have, Vermilion's such a small town. How small is it? Vermilion, South Dakota didn't have a hotel large enough to fit a football team because the travel party on a football team's 100. That was actually, I think we might have flown to Vermilion. We flew into Sioux City, I think, which, by the way, the airport, they have the letters. So O'Hare, what's O'Hare? OHR, LAX. That's the only one I really know. Sioux City sucks. SUX, legit. So I think we flew into Sioux City into sucks. ORD. Thank you, Dan. ORD. That's one I should know. So we flew into sucks, and I think we stayed in Sioux City and then drove up to Vermilion. So it's Coyotes. So they are the Coyotes, not to be confused with the Coyotes. Now, I grew up calling them Coyotes, but they are in South Dakota, they're the Coyotes. And I think Phoenix, I think they're the Coyotes. Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes, whatever team that is, the hockey team. So we've got a busy chat. We've got Terry, what's up? Shaw Cards, good morning. Victor, what's happening? Zach and Porter are here. Only one more sleep before ads are done. Yes, we're going to have to put up 2 full days, though, because we're going to have to be blinded by them through Tuesday, election day tomorrow. Ugh. We were watching TV. I think we were fixing dinner last night, and an ad came on, and I looked up, and we have YouTube TV, and I just happened to look at the screen. Usually I try to look away. I don't want to be blinded by election ads. And in the bottom corner, if you have YouTube TV, it says click here for like a relaxing video. And it's like that is needed during these damn election commercials, which is like this like music, and sometimes it's like a waterfall or just relaxing. It's relaxing video. We've got Red Light 34 in the house. What's happening? David, good morning to you. Dan, what's up? Jaden is here. Card Hobbyist, what's happening? Christian, good morning. Ed, Andrew, and Dean, good morning, guys. Paul Carl is here. What's up? Terry says, I watch only streaming, haven't seen a single ad. You are, my friend, a lucky one. I see him all the time. But I have TV on all the time in the background. And usually I'm not watching TV when they come on, but I hear it. I'm sorting cards, and I hear it. Tim Michaels did this. Tony Evers did that. Mandela Barnes. Who's the other one? Ron Johnson. Oh, my God. If I hear those names one more time, I'm going to throw the TV out the window. Dan started listening to Christmas music tonight. That's awesome. We have, I believe, 3 radio stations already playing wall-to-wall Christmas music here in Madison, Wisconsin. 105.1, and I talked about this the other day. I like Christmas music starting November 1st, as long as it's on a station that I don't regularly listen to. And 105.1 is a station. 105.1 is a hot AC station. It's very similar to the K100 that I worked for in Macomb, Illinois. It's hot AC. 104.1 is a little hotter. I wouldn't call it top. It's probably top 40. 104.1, but 105.1 is playing Christmas music wall to wall. And I believe there's a couple 92 something on the dial and maybe one other one. Those I don't listen to. Like, I don't know what music they play, so I'm cool with that. But 105.1, it's a little disappointing that they're playing Christmas music. And I did listen to some. I think it was Saturday that I did listen. I turned 105.1 because I think Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas" was on it. I'm like, hey, this will get me in the Saturday shopping spirit. What was I doing Saturday? Oh, that was my Costco run. So I played a couple Christmas songs that were playing on the radio. Christian says, happy Lions win Monday. The sun is a bit brighter. The air is a bit crisper. Thank God. Because the Lions played the Packers, right? Thank God. Now, my former coworkers who are diehard Packers fans, I've been pretty nice this year. Usually I rub in like they're down 7-0 with like on the first drive of the game, and I'm like already typing in like, ha ha ha, you are gonna lose. You suck. Packers suck. But I've been good. I haven't been texting, but I did send just a simple text with an expletive, Justin, expletive Fields. And that was, and I had no response. Justin Fields had an awesome day yesterday. We'll talk a little football today. Jaden says, went to a 150 table card show in Scottsboro, Alabama on Saturday. Great show. Card shows are not dead. That is great to hear. And I saw a couple. There were quite a few there's card shows all over the place every weekend now. And I saw various tweets with similar sentiments that card shows were busy. So that's good. I have a card show that I'm promoting coming up in less than 2 weeks. So I definitely want card shows to thrive. So Madison Card Show, Saturday, November 19th at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive, 9 to 3, free admission, 125 tables. I lost some regulars for this show because they'll be at the Chicago Spectacular that weekend. So I do have limited tables available for Saturday, November 19th at the Madison Card Show. I'll be set up this Saturday. It's been a while. It's been probably 6 weeks since I've had a table at a card show. So I'm excited to set up again at the Northern Illinois Card Show, Rockford, this Saturday at the Rock Church on Harrison Avenue. And then I'll also be set up in 3 weeks in Janesville, Wisconsin at the Janesville Card Show. Victor says, horrible weather day at Madison on Saturday. Yes, it was horrible just driving around town. It was horrible weather, rainy, windy, chilly. Sunday was great. Sunday would have been a great college football day. It was 55. The wind had died down. It was sunny. Yesterday was a good day. It was a good day to sell a truckload of cards, which I'll talk about as well. Card Hobbyist says battleground states are the worst, and Wisconsin is one of those. It's what do they call those? The purple states. One day last week, I had seven pamphlets about the Warnock-Walker election. I welcome the reprieve. I mean, I'm getting them from, and I'm sure everybody is, from every which way, the TV ads, the text messages, the mail. Oh, make it stop. Card Hobbyist says, fins up, Justin Fields was running wild. Yesterday was the best outcome for me, and I'm going to share why. Let's get through the chat real quick, and then we'll circle back to the Bears and why I think a loss yesterday was the perfect case scenario for the Chicago Bears football team. Stacks and Packs is here. I read the Packers tried to trade for Claypool and DJ Moore, and were even offering a first round for DJ Moore and still couldn't pull it off. Made me laugh. I didn't read the whole story, but I did hear something about that. I think it might have been on one of the pregame shows yesterday that I had on in the background. I had a DJ Moore like jumbo relic that I listed in my eBay store, I think Friday night. And I had so many like watchers, and I kept getting offers. I had one guy send me an offer, $8. I countered at $12.50. I had it listed for $15. I countered at $12.50, and he countered back. He's like, $8, best I'll do. I'm like, okay, decline. I had another one, wouldn't come off $10. And I'm like, I probably took 5 offers, which is a lot in 12 hours. So I'm like, you know what? I'll probably end up selling this at full price. And guess what? Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, it sold $15. So that made me laugh. Andrew says, Dean and I have never been to a card show together. Want to go to one soon? Heck yeah. So Andrew, I don't know where you guys are at. What state are you in? What area? I don't want to say there's probably a good show within because it's a very large country. And I know some areas still are deprived. Pennsylvania. Okay. So are you closer to Pittsburgh or Philly? If you're closer to Philly, there's a lot of good shows within driving distance. If you're closer to Pittsburgh, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure of the market in Pittsburgh. Let's see. Rascal says, I set up at a Saturday show in Fayetteville, North Carolina, only sold 2 cards for $20. Guy beside me sold a few hundred, so I guess I had the wrong stuff, and that happens. So what was Keating Country? So yeah, you've got a good selection of card shows in your area. So Rascal, yeah, that happens. So, I'll have, I would be curious what your take is, how often do you set up at card shows would be my first question. How often do you go to card shows? First question, how often do you go to card shows? Second question, how often do you set up at card shows? So it's, I'll take, we had, so one of the strangest scenarios for me as a seller was in Rockford, and the Rockford card show, and it's probably the measuring stick that I use for my purposes, because it's the one I'm most consistently set up at. So I don't set up at my own card show in Madison because I'm so busy up and down, and it allows me more time to buy, which I need to back off on the buying the next couple of weeks, because I spent October just buying everything in sight. I was like Pac-Man. If there was something in my way, I was consuming it card-wise. So Rockford in August, I was expecting like, it's going to be an okay show. It's still, people are probably, doing their last minute vacations and school shopping, and outside stuff, and I had an amazing show. The football went crazy because it was the preseason hype. The uh, historically, you're going to see the biggest spikes in sports sales, whether it's football cards, basketball cards, baseball card sales, at the beginning, before the season begins. It's that ramping up. It's all speculation. It's the same reason why Wander Franco rookie cards sell for more than vintage cards in some cases. I can't believe a Wander Franco autograph sells for $1,000 and a Carl Yastrzemski sells for $200. It's because we know what Carl Yastrzemski did, but Wander Franco could be the next Carl Yastrzemski. So it's all based on speculation. So that's why we see these spikes leading into the season. And then as the season winds down, we see that trend line declining throughout the season. And I noticed it the biggest in baseball, where I'll see my biggest sales in January, February, March for baseball. And the season hasn't even started. And then it's and then it kind of plateaus because you get that first month spike. Now it's actually not really a spike coming off the first 3 months of the year, but you see that it maintains. And then by May, June, July, it's like, we've got other things going on. And now people that collect multiple sports, now they're focused in the summer on football. So you see football jump, baseball is still just a kind of a subtle decline. And then by October, for me, my sales just die outside of, okay, the Astros are in the World Series. I had a ton of baseball, a ton of Astros sales. I had some Philly sales, but way more Astros sales. I did count one day. I think my count was like 19 Astros cards sold and 3 Phillies cards sold. And it could have been my selection. I mean, that was just, I was just curious. What's sold in the last 12 to 24 hours team-wise? So it's funny. So August, going back to my original point, the Rockford show in August, I doubled August of 2022. And remember, the hobby's dying. Everybody wants you to believe the hobby. Oh my God, the hobby, it's dying. It's dying. No, it's not. It is if you want to isolate the numbers from 2021 to now. Yeah, it looks like it's on life support. Go back a couple years. Look at some of the trends. Look at a 5-year trend, and you'll see the hobby is in a much, much better place than where it was in 2019, 2017, and especially 2015 and, a few years prior. So it's in a good place. So the August show, I doubled my sales over any other show I've done in August of 2022. September, same show, same market. And I'm thinking, man, September is going to be a great show because now football season is it's like opening weekend, or it might have been week 2 of the NFL season. So there's still some there's still hype around the NFL. So I'm like, man, I'm going to bring all my football cards. Hardly anybody looked at my football cards. I made 25% of what I did the prior, probably 20%. I made half of what I average, which is about 20%. If the numbers, I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just spitballing here, but it was a shitty show and the traffic sucked. And it was like, what the hell is going on? So, and we didn't have an October show. We did the Midwest premiere. So my next Rockford show is going to be this Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see where the market is, what I sell. I expect to have a pretty big sales day because remember I said my quarter boxes are friggin' loaded. I'm going through and it's like, you know what? If I would spend all day at my boxes, legit, I just have and you're like, well, why are you selling it? You sell on eBay and put I have so much inventory from what I bought in October. I'm not listing it fast enough. So, I'm getting these deals. I'm not putting $20 cards in the quarter boxes, but there's definitely some $5 cards and maybe even some $10 cards in these quarter boxes just because I don't want to spend the time if they're, the shiny chrome cards to list them on my phone. Other cards, I just have so much other stuff that I can list. So they're going into my quarter boxes. So I expect to have a pretty big sales day just because of the quality and quantity of my quarter boxes. So let's get back into the chat. Oh, we are going to circle back to the Bears. Let's see. Stacks and Packs asks, did you have your cards priced? Rascal says it was the first time setting up since the early 90s. Holy moly. Rascal adds, last December went to a Raleigh, North Carolina show and sold 2 Jordan, Kobe, East-West Chromes, and a few other cards for $1,400. Let me tell you, the market is way different than December of 2021. Do not base this Saturday's card show on December because the market is flip-flopped. It's completely different. So do not compare to last December. TD Sports Cards, what's happening? Good morning to you. Johnny Boy Cards, good morning. Let's see. Card Hobbyist is going to go refill his coffee. Get me some too. I'm winding down on mine. Rascal says, didn't set up at Raleigh, just took a box and walked around the last hour of the show. And that's what was happening in December of 2021 at card shows. They were wild. So I've promoted the Madison Card Show since April 2021. The peak was January of 2022. That was the peak for the Madison Card Show as far as traffic, and I had a couple different dealers give me tips, give the promoter tips because they did so well. Usually the show promoter is usually the dealers are complaining about, oh my God, I can't believe you charge $50 a table. Usually that's what you get. So when dealers are giving the promoter tips on top of their table fees, it means they had a good day. So that was January of 2022. That was probably the peak. It grew exponentially from April. My first show was 17 tables in April 2021. We were coming off the pandemic. The county where I'm in was pretty strict on regulations. So we still had, we could only have, I think, 250 people in the room at a time, which 17 tables, we didn't have to worry about a big crowd. But it scaled up throughout the year. The November 2021, I didn't have a December show. I wish I would, in hindsight. But the November show, I knew like, oh, this is things are really taking off. And then I think we peaked in January. February was still crazy. March was crazy. April was really good. And then May, that's when it just went. Woo. Now I was still selling. I'm still selling out tables. 125 tables for a monthly show is pretty good. But the less crowds, less money's getting tossed around. And there's, many reasons for that. But that's just from my own show and kind of the situation we have going on here. Let's see. Rascal says, I didn't have prices and all I had was raw cards, so I was very unprepared. And that's another reason. Personally, I'm one of those guys that if there are not cards priced, I walk away. I don't even ask. I just walk away. So I think that's first thing that you could improve on is put some price tags on there. Let's see. Jaden says the hobby is only dying if you're overpriced. That's true. Or if it's also if you're not prepared. I've seen on social media and in person people that jumped in the hobby in 2019, 2020, 2021, and they thought this was the card. Like this is all they know in cards, and it's just going to be like this forever. And I think most of us, if not all of us, who have been around for a decade plus, multiple decades in probably most of our cases, knew that this is just a brief blip and things are going to crash. And we're prepared. We know how to handle the crash, but I think many people who came in and just thought that they would thrive were not prepared for the impending crash, and now they cry doom. Andrew says many people are upset because they can't buy retail box for $25 and sell for $50. hence the market is tanking. Absolutely. What's up, Herman? My guy Herman is with us. What a win for the Bulldogs on Saturday. I'm happy for Georgia, for Herman. And it's kind of like the Phil. I was rooting for the Phillies because I have friends that are Phillies fans and wanted the Phillies, so I rooted for Philadelphia. And it's easy to root against the Astros, but more so because my friends, the Phillies fans, kind of like with the Georgia Bulldogs. I've got friends in Georgia. And I saw that video. It was like this family like screaming when Tennessee got #1 on the playoff rankings last week. And it's like, somebody said, this is cringe. And it was cringe. So it's like, even more reason to root for the Bulldogs. Matt is with us. What's up, Royals 417? Card Hobbyist says it is illogical to analyze an illogical market. I would agree with that. Rascal says the 2 cards sold were 1985 Topps McGuire rookie off-center 70-30 or more, and a Griffey Jr. 89 Donruss rookie that was grading worthy for $20. That's I'd say you did well on those sales. An off-center McGuire and a Donruss Griffey rookie, because I'm selling. So basically, so here's my eBay. If I had that, I don't grade. So any card, it could be a 10, and it's going to be sold raw in my eBay store. So I would list an 89 Donruss Griffey for $5 shipped in my eBay store, and I would list an 85 Topps McGuire for $10 shipped in my eBay store. So, and that's $15 free shipping, and then I've got to eat the fees and pay I'm going to send those PWE, so the shipping's not much of a cost. So I think you did really well on that $20. Herman says, spent the weekend getting ready for my first show of the year. Chicken show, that is. Very nice. Good luck at the chicken show. I would like a video of the chicken show. Just like some brief clips. And I'm sure a chicken show is similar to, so I grew up in I live in the Midwest. I grew up in a rural community. I was in the FFA. The bane of my existence in FFA was horse judging. So I assume chicken shows are similar to like the 4-H shows where you just show a cow and then they auction it off. Is that how it works? They auction off the cow and then you eat it. You butcher it and eat it. Card Hobbyist says, I remember someone buying 100+ Griffey Shore Project 2020 cards because those cards were a no-lose situation. Oh, man. Remember the Project 2020. Cooter's in the house. What's up, Cooter? Rascal says 20 for both. Yes. So both of those cards I would sell for $15 with free shipping in my eBay store. $15 for both that's what I would sell those on eBay. So so you netted $20. Well, I mean, you had to pay for your table and everything, so there is cost associated. But my cost would be, I would sell those for $15 free shipping. So my net profit would be, so let's see. My net profit probably around $11 on that. Let's see. Rich says 5 likes. Oh, 4. I didn't realize we had 44 viewers. I've just been talking about random crap. Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Rich. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's see. Herman says very similar but not selling. Okay, so it's like it's kind of like then horse judging, because I don't think they sell the horses. They sell the cows, but they don't sell the horses. Let's see. From future farmer to card hoarder. I was a future farmer. I don't think it's for Future Farmers of America anymore. I think it's just the FFA. I think they changed that like when I was in high school. I had the blue corduroy jacket. I went to the national convention. I think we talked about George. George we may have been at the same FFA national convention. I think that was 1995 or 6. 96. I'm trying to think. Let's see, I graduated high school in 2000. So let's see. The fall of my senior year would have been 99, 98, my junior year, 97, 96. So my freshman year, I went to the national convention, 1996, Kansas City FFA national convention. But I was not a very good. Now I won awards, but I won awards for like doing the most. My FFA advisor even made many comments that I had the most success on winning awards and doing the least amount of work. And I took pride in that. I think I think that was a jab at my work ethic in high school, which improved as I went into adulthood. But in high school, my work ethic sucked. And, but I was very proud of the fact that my work ethic sucked, and I was still able to have success in the FFA despite my poor work ethic. Let's see. Andrew says, Herman, you should project 2020 your champion chickens. Thank you, Rascal. JG, congrats on 2K. Thank you very much. I'm closing in on the year, closing in on 2022. I think I'm at 2010 subscribers. So thank you all. Let's talk Bears. So the Bears lost yesterday, but that was the best case scenario. What a game. And I didn't even watch it. I mean, this is a game I'd probably watch the replay. The Bears, this is what gets me. The last 2 weeks, so the Bears have traded away two of their best defensive players, Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith. Did they trade somebody else? I thought they traded a third defensive player. But so they gave up 49 points to the Cowboys last week, but they scored 29. They gave up 35 to the Dolphins yesterday, but scored 32. It's like their defense got worse, which we expected based on their trades, but it's like their offense got even better. And they did trade for Chase Claypool. And I don't know, how did Chase Claypool play yesterday? Justin Fields set the quarterback rushing record with 178 yards from a quarterback. 178 yards rushing with a TD. He threw 3 touchdown passes, completed 17 of 28 passes, 123 yards, 3 touchdowns. Claypool didn't do much. Claypool was only had 2 catches for 13 yards, and he was recorded 1 rush, 4 yards. But you had that great offensive display. Justin Fields, 3 touchdown passes, quarterback rushing record, 178 yards. And they lost, which improves their draft pick. And they play competitively. I texted Zach yesterday, and I'm like, this was perfect because the Bears played great. I mean, offensively, they played great. It was fun to watch. I didn't watch much. It was an entertaining game, and they ended up losing. It's competitive. It's a 3-point game, but they ended up losing. So they get a better draft. Hopefully it helps secure a higher draft pick, which they haven't had too many draft picks the last few years because of they've been trading away draft picks for players. Herman mentions they only traded Roquan for draft picks, which that's what I expected. What did they get, a second and a 4th round? I was happy with that. And I think they traded a 2nd round for Claypool. I think they have 2 2nd-round picks now. I can't remember. They've traded so many draft picks over the last 5 years. It's crazy. So it's actually nice to get draft picks. The thing with Roquan Smith, they weren't going to re-sign him. They could have done what's the tag, the franchise tag. They could have done that, but it's like, I'm okay with seeing him walk because even if you tag him, you're only get him for a year. If you trade him away for some draft picks, you have the opportunity to build a lasting defense or a lasting team to surround Justin Fields. I really like the future. We're starting to see Justin Fields really come into his own. I've said all along, I like Justin Fields. He just has a crappy team around him. And so hopefully as we see the Bears improve the offensive line, get some receivers, we'll see. There was a clip, I think it was from yesterday's game, where Fields made like a Patrick Mahomes-like throw right in the numbers. He was like, it was like the sideways, like falling forward, sideways pass, right. And I don't know if it was Mooney. I don't know if Zach's still here, but he might be able to answer it. Right in the numbers, and the guy flipping dropped it. Like, come on. Catch the flipping ball. So I'm excited about the future of the Chicago Bears. Bruce, what's up? Who makes your coffee at home? Hope they use 4 scoops of coffee. I make the coffee. My wife doesn't drink coffee. She just drinks cans upon cans of Diet Coke. Although she has been on a when she does need, and she's been pretty well between like the house renovations that are incoming, just picking all that stuff. She's been needing an extra caffeine boost, so she does the like the Starbucks cold, like in the glass bottles you buy at the grocery store. So she does that. Rarely does she drink coffee, so I make the coffee, and I think my scoop that I use is smaller than what we used at the company I worked for, where it was 1 1.25 scoop. I think it was a much larger scoop. So I used between 2.25 scoops and 3 scoops. I kind of play with it. Today, I think it was like closer to 2.5 or 2.75 scoops. Card Hobbyist says Dolphins have problems with mobile quarterbacks. Let's see. They have given up 60-plus yard runs to 2 QBs this year. Holy moly. Stacks and Pack says there was a terrible missed call. Should have been pass interference. I did, and I was not watching that. I think that was when I was doing my deal, doing my card sale. You will have to watch it. The Dolphins player is literally hugging him in midair, not going for the ball. That sucks. Stacks and Pack says, but I'll take the L for a better pick. Dan, thank you. It was St. Brown. Yeah, St. Brown. Now that you mentioned that, I do remember seeing somewhere on Twitter somebody mentioned that. St. Brown. Oh, my God. Yeah, he should be cut. Cut him today. I hate seeing guys lose jobs, but catch the effing ball. St. Brown. The XFL would be a good fit. St. Brown, cut St. Brown today. Get him a job in St. Louis for the Battlehawks. He can play in the XFL next spring. Let's see. Andrew says, newer look to the card basement. Check out his video. Very nice. Card Hobbyist says, over 1,000 yards of total offense in that game. It was a shootout. Stacks and Pack says, talking about the missed call on Claypool. Whatever happened to Robin Jennings? Wow. Bruce dropping a rare name, not a rare name in the 90s. Robin Jennings. Robin Jennings was a top Cubs prospect in the mid 90s. Oh man, like 95 through 98. He was like on the top 10 prospect list for like 5 years. Robin Jennings. I think, was he from Australia? Now I'm going to have to do some, let's look up Robin Jennings. By the way, I am going to talk about, I sold 200,000 cards yesterday, and I pulled a Superfractor all in the same afternoon. So Robin he was born in Singapore. And he's the only person born in Singapore to play Major League Baseball. He actually played in more games than I had thought. Let's see. He made his debut in April of 96. Oh, so he was a 33rd round draft pick in 91. Wow. So he was with the Cubs organization for most of the 90s. Made his debut in 96. Also spent time with the Oakland A's, Colorado Rockies, and Cincinnati Reds. Let's see. He was traded twice in July of 2001. The Oakland A's sent him to Colorado for Ron Gant on July 3rd. He played in 1 game for the Rockies and was traded to Cincinnati on July 19th. Robin Jennings. So there you go. I don't know what he's up to. For some reason, I was thinking he was Australia, but Singapore. 3 career home runs. Robin Jennings. But yeah, he was on those top 10 prospect lists for like 5 years. Brian Bullington. So Brian Bullington, I have fond memories of, because he was drafted, I believe, 2002, the number 1 overall pick for the Pirates. And that was when that's when I fell in love with the Major League Baseball draft. And Bobby Brownlee, which, by the way, I have a 1-of-1 printing plate Bobby Brownlee coming in the mail to me soon. But Bobby Brownlee went to Rutgers, was like the de facto number 1 overall pick in 2002. Like, he was the guy. He was the most hyped college player, most hyped amateur player going into 2002. But he tore up his shoulder, and his draft stock fell. So he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick that year. His draft stock fell, and I'm like, man, what if the Cubs, and the Cubs picked 21 that year. And I'm like, man, what if the Cubs could get Bobby Brownlee? And they did, and they drafted Bobby Brownlee, 21 overall, and then he didn't do much. I think I don't even know if he hit AAA. Let's look up Bobby Brownlee. And he was a pretty hyped player back in the day. He had a lot of Bowman cards. He even had a bobblehead for, I believe, the Daytona, which I have on my shelf, Daytona Cubs. Bobby Brownlee. Let's see. Minor league stats. Oh, he did reach AAA in 2005. So, yeah, he peaked at AAA. He was with the Cubs 2003. He didn't play in 2002 because he was coming off surgery. 03 with Daytona, and that's the bobblehead. West Tennessee AA in 04. So he'd actually climbed the ladder every year. He moved up, high A to AA to AAA. Spent 2006 between AA and AAA. And then looks like the Cubs released him, and he spent some time. 2007 he was in the Indians. Is that right? Yeah, he was in the Cleveland organization, then spent some time in the Nationals organization, and then he spent 1 year with the Gwinnett Braves, 2009, and then played one year of indie ball, 2009 for Newark, back in his home area. So Bobby Brownlee, I was a big Bobby Brownlee fan. The Matt Bush hype, yeah. There's some wacky story like Matt Bush. That's just unfortunate. Matt Bush was a similar story to Josh Hamilton. Who was the Matt Harrington was a fascinating story. Fortunately, not for legal troubles for Matt Harrington, but Matt Harrington. So if you don't know the Matt Harrington story, I won't leave you hanging. The Matt Harrington story is fat, and Matt Harrington actually spent some time with the Iowa Cubs. I want to see if I can see his. Get ready for some Wikipedia reading. Let's see. There's got to be some draft. So Matt Harrington was regarded as one of the top talents in the 2000 Major League Baseball draft. And they knew he was going to have a high bonus. The Rockies picked him 7 overall in 2000. They were asking for a $4.95 million signing bonus, which was 25% more than the previous year's pick Josh Hamilton received. Let's see. The Rockies' final offer was $4 million. So the Rockies offered Matt Harrington in 2000 as the number 7 overall pick, $4 million. And so this was June of 2000. They guaranteed him a major league call-up by the end of 2002, which I don't think that's very common. Harrington turned down the deal, sat out the season, and entered the 2001 draft. So he could have been called up in 2002 and had $4 million in his bank account, minus taxes and his agent fees. 2001, he re-entered the draft. This time he slipped to the second round. The Padres took him 58th overall. The Padres offered him about 25% of what he received from the Rockies a year prior. The Padres offered him $1.2 million signing bonus, but they were looking for twice that amount, which was still less than what he could have had a year prior. They didn't come to terms. So Matt Harrington played independent league ball. So then he went to the MLB draft in 2002. We're talking Matt Harrington. This time, he slipped to the 13th round. Remember, he's a 7th overall pick, first round in 2000. He falls to the 58th overall pick, second round in 2001. He goes from a $4 million signing bonus to a $1.2 million signing bonus. Now he's in the 2002 draft as a 13th rounder. Tampa Bay was offering in the $5,000 to $200,000 range. So let's just say the top end of that, $200,000 is what the Tampa Bay raised. So then he went to the 2003 Major League Baseball draft. Again, he turned down Tampa Bay's offer. He played some independent ball. 2003, he drops to the 24th round. And they didn't even have a signing bonus dollar contract. Wikipedia says the Cincinnati Reds were just offering him little more than a chance to play. When you get down that low, it's basically a $1,000 signing bonus. So he didn't come to terms with Cincinnati. He went back into the draft in 2004 and was drafted by the Yankees in the 36th round. This time he required surgery, and the Yankees did not even offer him a contract. He went back into the draft in 2005, and nobody even drafted him. And that's when the draft was 40 rounds. Didn't even get drafted. He did sign a minor league contract with the Cubs in 2006, attended spring training, but the Cubs released him before the season started. Matt Harrington. That's just the don't get greedy. And he got greedy 5 years in a row. Zach and Porter says playing catch up. Fields is a bad man. Best case scenario, even Porter gets it now, understands losing. Watching the Packer game yesterday with Pack fans also makes Fields even better. St. Brown. Andrew says Brian Taylor and Kevin Moss. Those two were the first mega busts. Moss still takes TTM and usually gets his autos back in 545 days. Those were awesome days. The Brian Taylor, Kevin Moss hype. So I sold 200,000 cards yesterday. This was my bulk lot that, and it took a few weeks to offload it, which is kind of what I expected. There's not many people in the market, especially within like a driving distance, that want a truckload full of commons. And that's essentially what it is. Yeah, there's some decent stuff in there, but for the most part, it's just a bunch of commons. I like to undersell and over deliver when it comes to bulk. That way, because what I don't want happen is I call it the cottonseed principle. So what I don't want happen is I overhype this a lot. And then when we go meet at, say, the Target parking lot, the person looks at it and he's like, I thought this was going to be better. I don't want this. And then I have to drive home with 200,000 cards still in the back of my car, either let them sit and hope for tomorrow or haul them back into my basement. So the reason I call it the cottonseed principle, because in my transportation days, one of my accounts, when I first started in sales, they give you like the cottonseed, they give you the messy accounts. Actually not messy, but this is it's, you get the cottonseed account. So the cottonseed is very so basically cottonseed from the cotton states, Alabama and Georgia is where I pulled most of my cottonseed out of. They haul it to Wisconsin and it's used as filler for dairy cattle in Wisconsin. So we would haul cottonseed. John says I've had the cottonseed account. So, and it's messy. It's blown in. So it really limits the carriers, the trucking companies that will carry it, because, if they have a nice trailer, they don't want to get it messy with cottonseed because they're hauling food grade material. So basically it's essentially food grade because it's for animals, but it's messy. So it's messy and it's literally blown in with like a reverse vacuum cleaner. So the shipper at the gin, Card Hobbyist says cottonseed meal is a great fertilizer. Now I'm sounding like an FFA. My FFA background did not help me with the cottonseed account. So they blow it in and it's loose. It's not bagged. It's not palletized. It's not in a Gaylord. It's just cottonseed, and it's just in the trailer. And then they typically it's unloaded with like with a standard 53-foot trailer. It's they use like a skid steer, backhoe, whatever that machine is. Ideally, you have a hopper bottom where it just goes over, like it's up on this like elevated thing, and then the bottom opens up and the cottonseed falls out. But the trailers, the drivers don't like it because then they have to go get a washout, which is basically just a car wash for trailers, but a car wash for a semi truck's like $50 to $100. And you're not really making much hauling cottonseed. That's why it's the cottonseed account, because it's low value, cheap freight. So you don't want to oversell the cottonseed. Now you don't want to like, oh, it's such a crappy. You don't want this load. So it's a delicate balance of making sure the trucking company knows it's messy, but it's not messy enough to haul it. So it's a delicate balance. You don't want to oversell it, and the truck pulls into the gin, and they're like, you blow it in with a hose? Screw that. I'm out of here. And some brokerages, they will oversell it, and they're like, screw it. Hopefully, there's a lot of brokers out there that they're underhanded like that, and they're like, their hope is they're weasels, and their hope is, being a weasel, is that they oversell it, and the driver pulls in, but he doesn't have, he needs to get to Wisconsin. And so he's just going to have to suck it up and take this crappy freight that normally he wouldn't take. So bad brokers do that. We were a good broker. And so we wouldn't undersell it. We wouldn't oversell it. We just, had to tell it like it is. So that's what I like to do with my bulk. I try not to undersell it, but I don't want to oversell it and say, yeah, it's awesome stuff. There's stars and everything, and then they get it and it's like, this is a bunch of 88 tops. So I like to play that delicate balance. So I did sell the 200,000 cards and hauled it all upstairs into my car yesterday. Meet the guy at 2:00 Target yesterday, and I'm like, I mean, he really had me by the balls because I wasn't taking that home. Dan wants to know what time it is. It is 7:54 a.m. Central Time. So the list price I had on 200,000 cards, $500. And again, it's mostly 80s and 90s, but there's some modern stuff. There are some stars. I had some Brewers like basic like police sets, and the Robin Yountz were still in there. There was some decent stuff. There were some of those like 90s plaques of like Brett Favre and Reggie White. Some of those classic sets, those game sets still in the package. So there was some, it's like, and I made sure to put like the good stuff just to say, okay, I sold it as like all 80s and 90s junk, but hey, look, there's this, and this. So the guy, and he had a van, he's like, okay, and we did the small talk, like, how do you come across this? And I'm like, well, I have like 3 million cards in my basement. I buy Goodwill pallets. I go to card shows and buy, and I go through it. I sell stuff on eBay, and this is kind of what's left over. And I'll have another load in a few weeks, probably. So he's like, okay. And so I had, again, my ask was 500. But I was really desperate to get rid of this. So basically any number that he would have thrown out, I probably would have taken, because it was already in my car and I wasn't taking it home. So he goes, I've got the space. And he had his son, 12 years old, just getting into cards. So how about this? You're just getting into cards and you get this windfall of 200,000 cards. That's pretty cool for a 12-year-old. So dad says, now I'm even more lenient. Like now I'll just, I'll give this stuff away because it's going to a kid and he's just going to look through it and collect what he wants and do all that stuff. So now I'm even more like lenient on, I'll give this away for anything. So so dad says, he's like, are you firm on price? And I'm like, I've got some wiggle room. And he goes, would you do 350? And I know he said 350. He was hoping to get it for $4. And I said, yeah, I'll do 350. Heck yeah. Normally, if it was like, I sold one to a guy who ran some shops and he was doing it for resale. And so for that, I would have said, I would have countered at 400 and I would have been firm at 400. But this is going to a dad and his son. It's like, if he would have thrown out if he would have said 250, I would have sold it to him for 250. And that's kind of how I treat some of these sales. Like, okay, if it's like a B2B sale, if I'm selling it to a business owner who's going to make, value packs or mystery boxes or whatever, I'm going to be a little more firm. But if it's a dad and his son just doing it for the love of collecting in cards, I'll just sell it for any price. So that's, so they were happy. I was happy. More importantly, my wife was happy. So now I have another truckload that I'll have to get put together. John says, looking forward to my next negotiation, right? There was zero negotiation. I probably said yes way too fast. Would you take 350? Before he finished his sentence, I said yes. Let's see. Herman says he used the for my kid line. I know he probably just found the kid. He paid the kid $5 he probably found the kid in Target and said, "Hey kid, I'll give you $5 if you play play the role of my son for 5 minutes." So yeah, for my kid line. JMF Collectible says his dad and his son making mystery packs, right? They played it off well. Victor says, I'll be there in December. I'll take my kid. Let's deal. Rich says, I end up with repeat business when I sell my bulk. Usually when I sell my bulk, when I open the hatch to my SUV, they look at it and they're like, oh, that's a lot more than I expected. So it's like, so they undersell. They're like, oh, because one of the guys that bought from me before we actually did the deal, he said, yeah, I'll buy this, and it's like, I should have taken half of what I took, because when we unload, he's like, oh my God, this is way more than I expected. Like, so I reached out to him like a month later. I'm like, hey, I've got another truckload. You want it? He's like, I haven't even got through half of the last load. It's like, well, shoot, I way undersold that one. John says, hopefully the kid made it back to his real family safely. Rich says, of course, the bulk is actually pretty good in terms of junk because it's a mix of modern commons with all the stars, happy shiny cards, and whatever some other people pawn off on me. So hopefully I have, and I've got about 10 boxes of football and basketball that I've got set aside for a guy that comes to my shows. So hopefully I can get rid of that and work on the next carload. So I was happy. I made $350, got rid of a truckload of cards, and then I came home. I was going to go to Walmart and look for Topps Archives because I think the store on the east side had some Topps Archives at Walmart. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not in the mood. I've got to clean up I had a mess. Remember, my wife had a heart attack when she went down there. I'm like, now I've got this out. I have more room to clean. So I went down and did that. It's like, I don't need to bring home, more blasters. So I cleaned up that area, got it ready for the next batch that I'll put in there and stage for the next sale. Finished that up, and I had my jumbo case of Pro Debut, which is sitting in my rec room. I've opened one box before yesterday. I opened one box. I'm saving at least one for the Couch People Christmas party, which is on Saturday, December 10th. It's going to be a StreamYard party. I'm just going to hang out in my basement for like 6 hours and rip cards, and I'm inviting everyone. If you're listening and watching, you're invited. I'll provide StreamYard links for that show. And if you want to rip something, come on and rip it. If you just want to come hang out, come hang out. We're just gonna do a long hangout. I'll probably start the stream at like 4 p.m. Central. It'll be broadcast live here on YouTube. And I'm just going to rip cards and hang out, probably have something on mute on the TV, a game, college basketball, which, by the way, I already talked about that. Tips off today. I'm excited about college basketball. So yeah, that's Saturday, December 10th, probably like 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central on for the Couch People Christmas party. Dan, that's a Saturday. It's a Saturday, December 10th. Terry says, I looked this weekend for archives and update, found neither. I looked briefly. So I went to, where did I go? I went to Walmart on Friday. They must have stocked Walmart later because somebody posted in one of our local Facebook groups, the Walmart that I had just been to on like Friday had stocked both update and archive. They're like, hey, archives and update are on the shelf. So I might go over there today. It's probably, the cleaners come today. So I'll just get out of the house. It'll give me something to do while the cleaners are here. So I'll look for archives. Let's see. Card Hobbyist, have a great day. Thanks for jumping on. Rich says, I got to get going, but I was happy to officially join the Couch People over the weekend. Welcome to the Couch People. See you all later. Enjoy dropping into that party. Again, Saturday, December 10th, Couch People Christmas party. Everyone's invited. The Pro Debut hobby box that I opened. So I have, I think, 6 boxes left to open. And I'll save at least one for, if not more, for the Couch People Christmas party. When I bought them, I bought 2 jumbo cases from my buddy Tom from Real Breaks. And he goes, hey, yeah, with the jumbos, you get a chance at a Superfractor. Now, and I said this on Twitter, and I know it comes off as like almost like a braggart. Like, this is only the second Superfractor. And I know Superfractors are hard to pull. And I get most people that see that probably don't realize how much product I've ripped over the years. I've ripped so much. And I've only pulled one Superfractor. And I know people that have ripped like 3 or 4 boxes a year. Boxes. And they're like, I've never pulled a Superfractor. And it's like, I rip several cases a year and have never pulled. Or have only pulled one Superfractor. And that was the Superfractor I pulled previous was a 2017 Topps Chrome update, Christian Arroyo, which I talked about recently, where I sold it raw in like early 2018, like a few months later after I pulled it, for $200. At some point it got graded. It was listed for sale and it sold for, I think, $300 recently. So that's the only Superfractor, like true Superfractor, that I've pulled one of ones, but only once, now twice, like a true Superfractor. And neither have been autos. Both have been base. So this I pulled yesterday, and I open up the pack and I see the gold, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a Superfractor. And it's a decent prospect. Christian Encarnacion Strand. I think this is he's pictured with the Twins here, Fort Wayne Mighty Muscles. But he's now in the Cincinnati Reds organization. And he's a decent prospect. His stuff actually moves pretty well. I've pulled a couple base autos from this product, and they sell like within 24 hours. Now, it's not like they sell for a bunch. I think I've sold each of them for $6. But they do sell within like 12 to 24 hours when I list them. So I was pretty happy with this. Have not listed it in my eBay store yet, but I will at some point. I haven't listed. This was my big hit out of the first case I opened. Ellie De La Cruz orange auto, numbered out of 25. So these are two monsters for me at least, that I'll eventually put in my eBay store. Terry says, I found my first one-of-one auto in my pro debut. It's my only one-of-one of any type. Nice. Congrats. So now it's like, after pulling a Superfractor out of this case, it's kind of like, well, it's all downhill from here, right? There was, however, it was a good box, because also in this same box that I opened, there was a gold refractor numbered out of 50 of Benny Montgomery, gold chrome, Benny Montgomery, and a refractor numbered out of 99 of the Cubs, Alexander Canario. So I was very happy with the results of that box. And it's like, I wish this was a Cubs Superfractor, but then on the other hand, it's like, I'll sell this for, a few $100 maybe. If it was a Cub, it would have just gone in my collection, and then I'm, a potential $300 sale is moot because it's just going into my collection. But this, at least I can recoup. So I'm happy with it from that standpoint. So that's what I had for today. A good day. I sold some cards, a lot of cards, and pulled a Superfractor in the same day. The Bears played awesome, still lost to get a better draft pick. And here we are. It's Monday. So happy Monday. Again, this Saturday, I'll be set up at the Northern Illinois Card Show in Rockford, Illinois, the Rock Church on Harrison Avenue. I will have my quarter boxes, and they'll be banging. I got some bangers in my quarter boxes this Saturday. College basketball tips off today. I am so excited. We have, let's see. We've got a big slate. What's the first game tips off at 11. There's 3 games that tip off at 11 a.m. this morning. Probably, highlighted by Baylor, number 5 in the country. They host Mississippi Valley State, probably best known as the alma mater to Jerry Rice. Prairie View A&M also tips off at 11 a.m., as does Middle Tennessee. So we've got a 1 o'clock game, Pacific versus Stanford. 3 o'clock game, James Madison against Valley Forge. And then a whole bunch of games. My alma mater, Western Illinois, plays Illinois State tonight. Wisconsin, the Badgers play South Dakota. So basically, like every college basketball program seems to be in action today or tonight. So I'll be having college basketball on the TV all day and all night. And I'll probably hit Walmart, try to find some archives. If I do, I'll probably do a break. I'll probably do a blaster break of Topps Archives. Valley Forge, yes, sir. Valley Forge basketball on today. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We're back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you then.